All right, so we are live and recording. So hope you guys are having a great day. Yeah, having a really great week. I'm trying to think of what is new in my world or in our world in this group. Had a handful of new clients just get started over the past couple weeks, so I've been super busy with getting them all onboarded, all set up, getting their starting goals going, all of that. Really excited to see all the progress they're going to make. So, wanted to actually start off by saying this. If you are somebody who has had a conversation with me through Messenger, whether it's Facebook Messenger or even on Instagram or anywhere, other than text message, I've gotten back to those. But Facebook Messenger and Instagram Messenger, I have not forgotten about you. I've just been really swamped with getting these clients started and getting some new members of the iThrive Collective all going and started there too. And I wish I had time to be able to answer everybody promptly, but the people who sign up for coaching and join the iThrive Collective, which is my paid exclusive coaching membership group, they get a little bit more priority, obviously because they're paying me. So I'm sorry, but we'll be getting back to all of you guys as soon as I can. If you are somebody who you're really interested in coaching or joining the iThrive Collective, and you have a message going with me, send me a direct message and be really direct and be like, hey, I'm interested in coaching. How can I move forward? I'm interested in the iThrive Collective, the group. How can I move forward with that? Because those people who, if you take action and take initiative to say, hey, I'm interested in joining one of whether it's the group or the one-on-one coaching, then I'm going to be able to flag that message and be like, okay, this person's serious about their goals. So if you show that you're serious about your goals and making progress, I'm going to, reciprocate that and make sure, your message gets top of the priority list. So just a little note there, but we'll be getting back to everybody, even if we're just kind of touching base a little bit and you're not necessarily interested in any of the programs yet. It's just going to take a little bit of time because they get a little bit of priority. So, but busy week with that. But I was having a conversation with a client. Actually, it was kind of yesterday/today. And it was about this client. I mean, there were a lot of things that we've been talking about, myself and this client. But one big thing is just her just being really social the past couple of weeks, and being so social has caused her to just have low energy at night and not really having as much energy to prep food, cook food. Now, obviously we had conversations about, hey, you got to do what you got to do sometimes, but it got us to talking about this concept of having these kind of safety net meals that you can lean on when you don't feel like cooking at all and when you don't feel like even thinking about what you're going to eat much. So I thought this would be a really good topic to talk about because I don't think people, maybe you haven't been introduced to this concept at all, but 90% of your problems with staying on track can be solved by having 3 to 4 high protein foods / high protein meals that you can go to that require zero prep. So I think when we embark on this fitness journey, this fat loss journey, we get into this mindset that everything has to be so perfectly curated. We have to have, these recipes or meals that you would see on Pinterest. We have to cook our food. We have to cook a bunch of chicken in bulk, our ground beef in bulk, and all this stuff. And it just feels like there's this pressure to have a lot of home cooked meals, more meals with, your cooked vegetables, your cooked rice, your cooked broccoli, your cooked, chicken, all that stuff put together. And while all that is great and good, and those meals are really great to put together for achieving results, they're not the only way to eat, especially in those moments where we don't feel like cooking at all. I have these moments all the time too. I'm super busy throughout the day, talking with clients, having calls with clients, all this stuff, filming these podcasts that the last thing I want to do is take 20 to 30 minutes even to cook something. But there are fallback options that you can have on hand in your pantry, in your fridge, in the cabinet, in the freezer, wherever that you can keep. So, hey, if I am having a super busy day and I either don't have time to actually cook or I just don't feel like cooking, I can lean on to still stay on track. And there are a couple of characteristics with these foods and meals we want to think about. But the number one is that we want it to be high in protein. Because if you can hit your protein goal for a meal, for 3 to 4 meals a day, and then end up hitting your protein goal for the day, you can theoretically fill in the rest of those calories with almost whatever fits, and you will see progress. Now, are you going to see the best type of progress if you're hitting your protein goal, but the rest of your calories are all filled with candy, even though you're hitting the same calorie goal versus if you hit your protein goal and the rest of your calories were filled with whole nutritious foods? Probably wouldn't see the exact same body composition changes, but it actually would be pretty close. So if we can at least just have these meals or foods on hand that require no prep, that are high in protein, then we can fill in the rest with literally whatever we have on hand. And we actually did this, my wife and I, yesterday. Yesterday was having a really long day with work, and picked up my son from daycare, and we were sitting there, and it was probably like 6:30, and we're like, okay, what do we want to eat? And we were like, screw it. We're not cooking. We're going to have this instead, or I'm going to have this instead. And the reason why I say this is because I'm going to kind of reveal the options that you can have on hand or what I recommend in a second. But don't overthink it. Think, does this satisfy the protein goal, the protein requirement I have? Am I able to fill in the rest of the calories I need for this meal, or the rest of the calories I need for the day then with other foods I have on hand, which I guarantee you can do probably without even cooking. If so, if you can check those two boxes, then that gets you 70 to 80% of the way there. So some characteristics of this. One is high protein. So what even is high protein? Is that 10 grams, 15 grams, 20 grams, right? I would recommend, because most people are probably eating, let's say, 3 to maybe 4 meals, quote unquote, or times a day. Whatever protein option you have on hand, I would want it to probably be 30 grams minimum, because if you eat that 3 times a day, you're getting 90 grams of protein, with probably getting a few extra grams of protein here and there from some of the other food items you're eating. So you'll probably end up with at least 100 grams. Now, a lot of you probably need to eat more than just 100 grams of protein per day, but that at least gets you to a decent point, especially if you're a smaller individual. And then if you're eating 4 meals a day, and that's 30 grams of protein each, then that hits you at 120, if not even a little bit more from those other trace amounts of protein. And that's great too. So I would say at least 30 grams of protein that we want in the safety net meals or these safety net foods that we have kind of sitting around for us. So that's one characteristic. And that's really the only characteristic I would really you really absolutely need. Because like I said, you can fill in the rest of the calories with literally whatever for that meal. Now, like I said, you don't want to have your whole rest of your day be just candy. You don't want to have your day be protein shakes and candy, and that's how you hit your calorie and protein goal, because you're probably not going to feel full. You're probably going to feel sluggish. You're probably going to feel you're probably going to be missing out on some beneficial vitamins and minerals that help us to feel good. But if it's just one meal that you're just trying to get by with, have a protein shake and a couple of cookies. Literally, that is better than stressing yourself the hell out and not getting anywhere because you're I can't have this perfectly balanced meal with protein, a healthy carb and a vegetable, so I'm going to just go through fast food. I'd rather much have you choose the protein shake and candy versus going through fast food and not hitting your protein goal and then going way over your calorie goal. So here are some ideas of what these safety net foods or meals could be, and probably the most common ones that I use. So number one is Greek yogurt. And I really love the Oikos Triple Zero Greek yogurt. They have different flavors. They have vanilla, they have strawberry, they have like wild berry. They have like a plain version, I think, but I just get the flavored because like the calories and protein are basically the same and it tastes so much better. So like that is an easy one because that requires zero prep. And these yogurt cups, they come in small containers. You can buy the separate ones, and each container is 15 grams of protein and just 100 calories. Or you can buy like the big tub that has usually like 5 or 6 or so servings or whatever in it. But like that is super easy. And you could easily create 30 grams worth of protein at least in yogurt with zero prep, right? It doesn't take any cooking. All I need is 2 of those yogurt cups, and that's going to be 30 grams of protein. Or if I want to, go the extra mile and have 3 of those, or if I want to like just weigh out really quickly what 30 plus grams of protein would be from like the big container, like I can do that with literally like 30 seconds of time with no prep at all. And now you have your protein that you need for that meal, and literally just fill the rest of the calories that you typically would have in a meal like that. Like let's say if with your calorie range and your protein range you're aiming for, you maybe eat 4 times a day and each meal is roughly, let's say, 400 to 500 calories. Well, now you have your protein that you're hitting, 30 to 40 or so grams, and that's probably coming out to, let's say, 200 calories worth. So now literally just fill in the rest of those 200 to 300 calories that you normally have with that meal, literally with whatever you have in your pantry. I like to have my yogurt with rice cakes, and I like to dip the rice cakes in the yogurt. The chocolate rice cakes are so good with it. Caramel ones are really good with it too. But that requires zero prep. And I could easily just have like 4 rice cakes, and that's going to be an extra like 250 calories or so. Boom. I hit my calorie range. I hit my protein range for that meal if I'm aiming for, let's say, roughly 500 calories and 30 grams of protein. Other things you could literally just pull from your pantry. You can have a bowl of Greek yogurt and have like 3 slices of bread. I know it sounds weird, and I probably wouldn't put the yogurt on the bread, so I'm not saying that. But like you can just throw stuff together and it can suffice for a meal if it meets your calorie and protein requirements. Other examples of these kind of safety net meals or foods to have on hand other than the Greek yogurt is you could do something like just protein shakes. The Fairlife Nutrition Plan protein shakes, they're like 12 and a half ounce bottles, I think. Especially the chocolate ones. I love those. Those are so handy to just have in your pantry or have in your fridge at all times. Because there's a fly flying around here. If you are in a pinch and you need a quick 30 grams of protein, there are 30 grams of protein in each one and only 150 calories. So they're super flexible too, where you can almost include them in really any snack or meal. And it's going to give you like almost like a 30 gram protein shot right there. So you could do something like that and pair it with, let me just like pull open the drawer in my fridge. I have an apple in here. Let me grab that. I have some pretzels in the cabinet. Let me have like a serving of pretzels and measure that out. And boom, there's your meal. A protein shake, an apple, and a serving of pretzels. Like, is it pretty? Is it going to make some kind of fancy recipe page on Instagram? No, but it's going to get you the same result, and it's just as effective. You have your protein. In this case, you have your fruit in this example. Then you have some kind of carbohydrate. And like that is perfectly fine to have for a quote unquote meal. Like there have been lunches where I have had a protein shake, pretzels, and an apple. I guarantee it. There have been dinners where maybe I've had that too. So like not everything has to be super elaborate, warm, home cooked with all of these like fancy like superfoods that you would think of. Like your meals don't have to be like that. So protein shakes are another thing that I recommend just having on hand that are really super easy, quick, that you don't have to think about. Another example, and this is super underrated, is lunch meat for sandwiches. Sandwiches have gotten, I feel like, such a bad rap, and I think it's probably because of the bread, because people have demonized bread for so long, even though there's no reason to. But sandwiches can be so easy, convenient, and really good nutritionally, and really help you to hit your calorie and protein ranges. Buffalo chicken that you get from like the deli meat is basically all protein. So I think in like 60 calories worth of buffalo chicken, which is technically like a quote unquote serving according to the label, is somewhere around like 12 12 grams of protein. So you could like double that or triple that and have 36 grams of protein for only like 180 or so calories of buffalo chicken. And that's amazing. Like 36 grams of protein for 180 calories. That's like a great calorie to protein ratio. So now all you need is, do you have some bread in your pantry? And even if you don't have bread, do you even have like hamburger buns that you could put the lunch meat in? Do you have some kind of slice of cheese, preferably low fat cheese, but regular cheese will work fine, that you can put on that sandwich too? And now you can add in on some vegetables too. You can add like tomato, lettuce, whatever you like on there. Some maybe low calorie sauce. Takes zero prep. And then if you still have some calories left over for that typical meal that you would have, fill it in with whatever you have. Maybe it's a banana. Maybe it's pretzels again in this example. Maybe it's I don't know, something random you pull out of the pantry, a Rice Krispie treat or whatever. Like literally can be anything. And like I said, these are not, what I'm describing are not like, oh, this is the perfect meal that is going to keep you perfectly full for the next 4 hours, but it is going to get you by and it's going to allow you to just throw shit together in a short period of time that is still going to allow you to progress when life gets busy. This is exactly what my wife and I did last night when I was kind of alluding to that example where we're both tired. I was really tired. I had a long day at work, like with my clients and stuff and everything. And I did not feel like cooking at all. And I'm like, okay, what are we going to eat? And I was like, oh, like we have lunch meat buffalo chicken in the fridge. We have some cheese. We have some bread. So I threw that together. And I also, because just my calorie and protein requirements are higher, I paired that with Greek yogurt and rice cakes too. So both of those things, I probably had a whopping, probably like 60 grams of protein in that meal. And maybe like, I don't know, for myself, 700 calories, probably around there. If I were to check my food log with that meal, with the yogurt, the rice cakes, the sandwich, and it required zero prep. Like if I were to tell you, hey, I had this meal and it was 700 calories and 60 grams of protein, you probably in your head would think about something like chicken breast, asparagus, sweet potato, something fancy like that. But no, it was just literally stuff like super easy that required no cooking, no prep, thrown together to make that work. So third item I would always recommend having on hand is some kind of low-fat lunch meat. So like buffalo chicken, deli turkey meat is great. Buffalo chicken deli meat is great. And then turkey deli meat is great too, which is going to be basically all protein. So if you have some of that on hand at all times, you can easily throw together a sandwich. And the best part is that you can customize it. So like if you find that you actually were maybe short on protein earlier in the day and you need to make up for it, you can just add more of that chicken to that sandwich or just add more of that turkey to that sandwich and really rack up the protein. Like I've made sandwiches sometimes where like the protein is stacked up like 3 or 4 inches high because I've just needed that much. I had to like smash it together really hard, but you can do that. And it's so simple and so easy, but a lot of people just kind of overlook that. Fourth thing that I would probably have on hand, if you find yourself like in these situations a lot, protein bars. Super easy, convenient. You can take them anywhere. I love the One bars. That's one of the brands that I really like. It's typically like 20 grams of protein for around 200 calories per bar. The METRX bars, I think there are RX bars. Those typically are like not that high in protein, but the METRX bars, those are a little bit bigger and they're like just a totally different brand than the RX ones. But the METRX ones, those are usually around like 350 calories and usually around 30 grams of protein. But having either those or the One bars, if you like Quest bars, those are fine too. But having those on hand, where one, they're really easy to take with you to like work or if you're traveling, but also even just having them in your home. Like there have been times where I didn't feel like making a lunch and I had 1 or 2 protein bars. And I also have these like little bags of Skinny Pop, like low calorie popcorn. And I've had like 1 or 2 bags of those with my 1 or 2 protein bars and maybe try to sneak in some kind of fruit in there if I can. And then I'm back to work and take zero prep, zero cook time, not a whole lot of time to eat. And like I could even eat it while I work as long as I'm not filming a video or something. or sending a voice message. But another really super simple example of how I can get, 30 plus grams of protein in and then just fill in the other calories from like random carbs that you have sitting around. Like, doesn't have to be pretty and doesn't even have to make sense. Like, I've thrown together weird combinations of food and like where it's like, oh, this was your meal. And like, yeah, like what matters is, am I hitting my calories? Am I hitting my protein? And like, that's it. Especially when we take a little snapshot of one meal. Obviously, getting in, your fruits and vegetables throughout the day and throughout the week is super important. Making sure you're eating mostly whole foods is super important. But I'm talking about those times where like the last thing you want to do is fire up the skillet and start cooking something. The last thing you want to do is start boiling some water to make some rice or whatever. Like, have those fallback options, those safety net foods or meals that you can easily just throw stuff together. What was there was this like trending thing on TikTok. Maybe this was a while ago. It was months ago, but it was like girl dinner. I think that's what it was called, girl dinner, where it was like these girls would go on TikTok and they'd say, "Hey, this is my girl dinner." And it was just a random assortment of like foods thrown together. And your meals can be like that. Now, a lot of the examples of the girl dinners didn't have very much protein at all in them, so wouldn't really recommend that. But like, as long as you're hitting your protein and getting at least 30 grams in, and obviously if you have a higher number of protein per day that you're trying to hit, maybe you need a little bit more than 30, maybe you need more like 40 per meal or whatever, but at least 30 is kind of a good mark for most people to aim for. Fill in those extra calories that you need to then hit your calorie goal at the end of the day with whatever's there, like literally whatever. And having that mentality has saved me and a lot of my clients so much lost progress, because when you get into that like all or nothing mentality and think every meal has to be cooked, has to be warm, has to have like, this fancy vegetable with it and this and that, or has to look like something you could take a picture of and post on social media and be quote unquote proud of. Every time you think all of your meals have to look like that, and when you run into a situation where they can't, or you just really don't feel like cooking, if you don't have these safety net options to fall back on, then you're going to end up going through just fast food or be like, screw it, like my goals are out the window when they don't have to be. Other examples off the top of my head too, like those are my 4 main ones. Like, if you have those 4 examples, you should be set, because like you probably aren't running into this scenario like more than 4 times a day, right? If you at least have like all 4 of these, most people don't have to eat more than 4 times a day to hit their goals. So if you have 4 of these options available, even on the worst day where every single meal throughout the day, all 4 of your meals or eating periods, you're just throwing stuff together, you at least have these 4 options. But other options too are like low-fat mozzarella cheese is a great option to have. And you could have like, Jesus fly. You could have like 4 or 5 sticks of low-fat mozzarella cheese, and it's probably going to be somewhere close to 25 to 30 grams of protein. And then just, have some low-calorie popcorn, have a banana, throw some random stuff with it if you need to. Other examples too. This was another one that I kind of gave a client to where it does require some cooking, but the Kodiak protein pancakes are another kind of staple option for me that I always like to have on hand on evenings where like I just really don't feel like cooking anything extravagant, because it's super simple and just add water to it, mix it together, put it on the pan, and boom. I would recommend using sugar-free syrup if you do have those, because regular syrup just can really rack up the calories. But that's another easy option to have on hand that requires virtually no cooking and really no prepping. Other things too, the Real Good brand chicken tenders or chicken nuggets, those are phenomenal. Those are the best like chicken nuggets or chicken tenders I've ever had for that calorie to protein content. Like each serving of those is roughly around like 23 grams of protein and only like 160 calories, which you are like not going to beat for anything breaded. Like by far, you're never going to beat that. And those, obviously they do require some cooking, but I just throw them in the air fryer for 15 minutes and they're done. And I don't even have to think about it. Like I throw them in the air fryer and then I just do my own thing, clean up around the kitchen or whatever I need to do at that time, and they're done. Like that's another really good, example of something to have on hand in case you are in a pinch and don't really feel like cooking. And all of these examples I gave, I think except for the mozzarella cheese sticks, I have the yogurt on hand. We have Fairlife protein shakes. We have lunch meat. We have the Real Good chicken tenders and nuggets, and then we have the protein pancakes. Like, those are 5 fallback options for me if we don't have like ground beef prepped, or I don't feel like cooking ground beef, or if we don't have any kind of steak or fish or anything cooked or prepped, or if we don't have any chicken cooked or prepped either. Like, those are all like 5 other fallback options. Add on top of that just like the time I do spend here and there, prepping chicken in bulk, or, cooking food some evenings. Like, there's no excuse as to why I shouldn't be able to hit my goals. And with these options on hand in your pantry, in your fridge, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to either, unless it just comes down to discipline and just eating the things you have. But you shouldn't, if you have those on hand, you should never run into a situation where, like, I don't have the foods to eat to help me to hit my goal unless I cook them. Like, because if you have those 4 options that I just laid out, the yogurt, the lunch meat, the protein shakes, and the protein bars, if you have all 4 of those, then like, you have what you need to hit your goals even without cooking. Assuming you have some kind of carbohydrate options in the pantry to throw with it, which you should. So, like, we want to set ourselves up and have the resources available to us in our home, in our pantries, in our kitchens, to where now all we have to do is just execute on the plan and implement the discipline versus versus not having like those safety net options available. And you don't have to have protein shakes every day. Just because you have them in your pantry, you can choose to only use them when you need them. Like the Fairlife protein shakes we have, I haven't even opened it up yet. I don't know if my wife has yet, but I haven't, because I've been able to hit my protein goal with just like my regular food throughout the day without it. But if I do have a day where maybe I am short on protein for whatever reason, or there is an extra meal that I just don't feel like cooking, and maybe we're out of yogurt, so I can't just do that, I have the protein shake at least there. So hopefully this was helpful when it comes to just explaining how to still stay on track even if you aren't going to cook. Like, with all the resources we have available, especially those options I just listed, not having time to meal prep really isn't an excuse to not hit your goals, because you can easily get like 150 plus grams of protein in a day and still stay within your calorie range with the protein bars, the protein shakes, the Greek yogurt, what was the other option I mentioned? I forget. Oh, the lunch meat. And then pairing that with whatever kind of carbohydrate sources you need to pair it with to hit your calorie goal at the end of the day. So hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully this helped us simplify things. Let me know. And then if you are interested in, as always, joining one-on-one coaching, send me a DM. Maybe I'll even link it below in the comments. But if not, send me a DM, message me, and fill out the application there. If you are interested in joining my paid group, where you can get access to workouts, other recipes and food ideas, challenges every single month with cash prize giveaways, a classroom where there's videos and courses on fat loss of how to implement the 3 phases that I take my clients through, with new courses being added every single month too. There's weekly Q&As with tons of value, tons of information too, where you can ask questions directly and get your questions answered every single week as well. Other things you can unlock in there to get some more direct one-on-one access to me too with coaching. Click the link below. I'll put that in the comments below too to join that. You can join monthly with no long-term commitment, or you can sign up for a yearly membership at a huge discount too. So appreciate you all. Hopefully this is helpful, and I will see you guys in the next one.